I want to take a moment to point out how very fast these last several weeks have been. Like, within seconds before pressing record, I'm like, shoot, we're at Friday already. Happy Friday, everyone. Let's see. What would I do for my low, my high, and act of kindness? Well, I guess nothing particularly bad happened outside of, I didn't spend that much time with my folks last night, but there is a reason for it. And that's because, last night I actually went to this one event at the Corning Museum of Glass called 2300 Degrees. Like, it's an event that's been going on for a few years now, and this was the first time I ever went. I'll talk about more in a minute, but I did have fun. So between that and watching yesterday's episode of Hot Ones, that's my high. Now, what is my act of kindness? Hmm. Um, hmm. I guess despite the fact that I probably could have gone home after 2300 degrees, I hung out with my folks for a little bit. Again, I didn't stay with them long, but I did. And they were pretty thankful that I did visit them. And I'm glad. Listen, I was going to visit my folks regardless, but I guess it's sort of, it feels good. It felt particularly good to do that, you know? Like, considering that 2300 degrees was filled with, a lot of people, a lot of whom I had no idea who they were, it really was nice to go to a place where, it's my mom and dad, but they at least know my name, right? So, I think I'll do 2300 degrees first, and I'll go into Hot Ones. For those of you who don't know, 2300 Degrees is an event that takes place at the Corning Museum of Glass. There's live music. There's a whole lot of bars everywhere. Seriously, if you wanted to get a drink from the bar, every single line I saw was 50 feet long. It was crazy. Yeah, I know for all intents and purposes it's considered Thirsty Thursday, but dang, everybody was thirsty. The only food they had there was at the cafe, and I tell you what though, don't sleep on the Corning Museum of Glass food. They've got some pretty good tacos. Don't get me wrong, you know me, my mom's tacos are the best, but these are good tacos, to be sure. The music was good, that the live music was playing. It is a museum. You got to look at some of the attractions, and this was the first time I've been to CMOG. That's what we call it, the Corning Museum of Glass. We call it CMOG. This is the first time I've had CMOG in years. And, well, to not my surprise, I'm not entirely surprised to say that everything still looks beautiful in that museum. You would think, oh, what, glass? How is that interesting? No, trust me, glass is interesting. I'm about a 20-minute drive, I'm about a half-hour drive, give or take, from Corning, New York. That's Crystal City, USA right there. This entire area, even all the way here in Elmira, is almost completely synonymous with the Corning Museum of Glass. That's how, famous it is. Because there are a lot of really pretty attractions, and they have live glass shows. Yeah, there are actually some live glass shows going on at 2300 Degrees last night. And that's why it's called 2300 Degrees, because a kiln, that's this very special oven that gets very hot, like that's how hot, 2,200 degrees. I think it's Fahrenheit. 2,200 degrees is how hot it takes to mold and melt, the materials used to make glass. I mean, yeah, it's sand, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff involved too. I'll tell you what though. I have to tip my hat off to those people who work by those ovens all day and work at the hot glass shows and are able to do those shows, because I tell you what, those people aren't wearing layers on a cold day. No. Those ovens have got to be good God, man. Here's the thing. Full disclosure, on Saturday and Sundays, or every other Saturday at least, and every Sunday, when I make my breakfast, I make that first. Then I shower and clean up, and then I do the video, right? By the time I'm done making my breakfast, I am I need a cold shower. Which is great, because that's why I take a cold shower. Because I'm working by a hot stove, for however long it takes me to make breakfast, So, if you work at the Cornell Museum of Glass and you actually perform in those do those live glass shows, being by those ovens all day, or actually if you buy those ovens at all, because come on, it's more than just glass shows and attractions. If I was wearing a hat right now, I'd be tipping off to you, for sure. Let's see. That's really about it. Although, here's the thing. I mentioned how long the drink lines were. You would think the drinks would be moderately priced. Here's the thing. You need to get yourself drink tickets, right? And for $6, you get one ticket. One. Look, honestly, this is the sort of thing where I don't know if I would ever actually do it. I'll tell you what, if they had 2,200 degrees again, maybe I would consider going back now that I have a better idea of what goes on. Although, if you were there and you were looking for something really fancy to drink, sad to say, you really wouldn't be getting that there. In terms of alcoholic beverages, you had 4 different flavors of White Claw, which I don't drink hard seltzer. To be honest, seltzer, in my experience, always smells a heck of a lot better than it tastes. They get the scent of the fruit flavor and whatever flavoring it is, but it tastes like pure water. And I always feel kind of defeated and underwhelmed, There was 3 different kinds of beer. One of them was Ithaca Pale Ale, one was a Sam Adams, and I think the last one was a Miller Lite, I'm not sure. And there was soda too. I should probably iterate this and just talking about, the alcoholic drinks that are there, because why else would people be going to the bar? In terms of wines, there was 4 different kinds of wines. There was a Red Cat. I forget what kind of wine that is. There was a Chardonnay, there was a Merlot, and there was a Riesling. To be honest, because if you've ever seen the bottle of Red Cat, it's a very pretty looking bottle. It's essentially a clear bottle with red all the way through. So I'm and I was in the mood for, in full disclosure, if I'm going out for drinking alcohol, I want something light, crisp, and sweet. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm a cider guy when it comes to drinking beer. So I tried Red Cat for the first time, and it's pretty solid. Again, I'm not a wine expert, here's the thing. One of my loftiest goals ever is to become a sommelier. And there is a reason why it's incredibly lofty, because the process of becoming a sommelier is stupid hard to do. But yeah, all in all, 2,300 degrees. It was a pretty good time. Now, let's talk about hot ones, because I mean, if I want to be anywhere, let's see, an oven that's 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe, or hot wings. Give me the hot wings. Anyway, Austin Butler did a rather solid job, taking on the wings of death. And this was a very good episode because I can tell you, I actually learned a lot. I mean, Sean asked about Sean Evans asked Austin Butler about Elvis's filmography. And, I mean, you give Austin Butler all the credit in the world. This is definitely the kind of actor that really wants it because he did a lot of research in preparing for the role of Elvis, which he is nominated for an Oscar for, by the way. And actually, I hope he gets the Oscar now that I've seen it. Now that I've seen this episode. Anyway, believe it or not, I mean, for those who don't know, Elvis actually went to war. I forget what war he went to. Maybe it was Korea, I think. I don't know. But before Elvis went to war, his filmography, was kind of campy and kind of fun, goofy. Not bad, but, like today, by today's standards, a bunch of them probably wouldn't be considered all that great. For the time, though, they were great. But sadly, by the time Elvis got back from the war, he wanted to pursue acting even further and do more dramatic stuff. But they wouldn't let him. They liked the fact that he was a singer. And it's just one of those things where, guys gotta eat. And sometimes you gotta do the things you don't want to do in order to make stuff happen. I'm done with understanding, for all intents and purposes, Elvis Presley in his prime was a fantastic singer. Absolutely. And he's still beloved the world over. It's just sad to know that we actually could have gotten something truly great in terms of acting. Because when Austin Butler talked about Elvis's filmography, the word that really came up was potential. Which actually kind of makes me think, seriously, this is the sort of moment where, like, man, are we all living up to our potential? Like, yeah, ask yourself the deep questions. Speaking of preparing for Elvis, one thing that was going on in preparation was Tom Hanks, who played, like, Elvis's manager, the colonel or whatever, he sent everybody a typewriter. And they're, like, writing letters to each other. Because that's how people communicated back in Elvis's time. It was with typewriter. Like, they were really trying to get, like, into the role, Which, I mentioned how dedicated of an actor Austin Butler has become. Like, if you watch this episode, like, he can tell what kind of training an actor may have had, if they had any. Like, acting exercises that seem really great or kind of stupid. To him, that is. The importance of Quentin Tarantino asking for, like, another take, even though, by all accounts, like, the take was good. Any sort of cardio-related workouts and stuff like that to stay in shape with acting, especially when you're the role of Elvis and you gotta have them peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwiches, which, that was another question too. Like, peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwiches, overrated or underrated? As if they could be overrated. Seriously, peanut butter, banana, well, by all accounts, they're peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Elvis Presley added the bacon because, that's what people did in the South, particularly like, Tennessee, that area, And, I mean, I personally never had a peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwich, but I would try one, to be sure. I mean, the reason why they're probably not worth as good as, it sounds good on paper, but it's probably stupid unhealthy. Let's see. He talked about how, like, when you're on stage or, like, and you're in front of the camera, like, if you read a script and you've done everything you could in order to prepare for a role, like, that's fine. But when it's go time, you have the power to edit what you're going to do. And in a lot of ways, that really speaks to how Like, we all have an ability to do stuff in our own way. That's why it was really interesting when, you know, Austin Butler was talking about like all the different methods that people go for. Personally, myself, I was always more of a Stanislavski kind of guy, but that's just me. For those of you who don't know, Stanislavski focused on the method. That's the ability to take, events that happen to you and bring them into you in an emotional sense, and therefore make a scene better that needs that level of emotion. Like, you think of a time where you probably fell as a kid and cry, you bring that memory back, and you use that to help you cry for, an emotional scene. That's a very loose term of what the method is, but that's what it entails. This is actually also interesting. He became an expert as to how, what restaurant qualities make for a good restaurant. I mean, technically it's something that I probably could have come up with myself, because, you gotta have a good staff, obviously. Good tasting coffee. I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but, just because I'm not a coffee drinker doesn't mean coffee is for everyone. All these, little things that make a restaurant cool are great. That's interesting to me. Another interesting thing, he was born in an area that's between Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. Two of the most famous amusement parks in the entire country. And he lived halfway between the two of them. I've been to Disney World. I've never been to Disneyland. To be perfectly honest, there's this one YouTube channel I watch called Watcher, and they've done they eat everything at Knott's Berry Farm. If you don't know what Knott's Berry Farm is, everything is gooseberry themed. I want to go to Knott's Berry Farm. Speaking of Knott's Berry Farm, that's where the GOAT amusement park attraction is. According to Austin Butler, that is. I forget the name of the ride he mentioned, but it's that sort of ride where it's a roller coaster and you start fast and go up and then down and all around and I want to ride that ride, man. That sounds cool. And I mentioned the whole peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwich thing. The last dab was Austin Butler, no kidding, making the perfect PB&J. It's been quite a long time since I've had a PB&J. Here's the thing. PB&J is, by all accounts, one of my all-time favorite sandwiches. When I think of a sandwich I've had growing up, peanut butter and jelly is the one that comes to mind. Yeah, of course, there's grilled cheese and the BLT. And my mom actually turned me on to PB&F, peanut butter and fluff, which is, the Fluffernutter. That's a great sandwich. But man, never before, until after finishing yesterday's episode of Hot Ones, have I ever stopped and said, I would like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So, here's the thing, having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is one of those things, yeah, I kind of want it, but at the same time, I could potentially do without, the moment has to come for me to want it, and within a very strict period of time, definitely within 24 hours, I gotta have it. So needless to say, I'm not entirely sure if I'll have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I'll tell you what, I'll have a peanut butter and jelly, that's what I'll do. If I ever got famous, at least famous enough to actually meet Austin Butler, I would have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that he makes. Because he claims he makes the perfect one, I would try that sandwich. I would definitely try that sandwich. So this was a great episode of Hot Ones, man. I don't know what to say. Austin Butler, congratulations on the very slim chance you're watching this. Congratulations on all of your success. Congratulations on the Oscar nomination. Very well deserved. And Millie had never seen Elvis, but come on, man. You were playing the king of rock and roll. That's gotta count for something. I mean, I'm glad that Austin Butler got nominated for being Elvis, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm really sad that Taron Egerton. Seriously, Taron Egerton should have gotten nominated for playing Elton John in Rocket Man. That's snobbery. Speaking of Taron Egerton, I saw the trailer for Tetris. That actually looks very interesting. Just like I hope this video was interesting to you guys. And if it was, click on that like button, press that subscribe button, follow me on social media. As always, I am very humbled I made this video for all of you guys who watch and enjoy today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk to channel, I'm going to be here to lend you all your back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.